Hello, I'm Christine from Financial Dreams with Christine, and I'm here to welcome you to the second part of my retirement series, in which I detail my decision making process of where my husband and I will retire in about 3 years' time. Please know I am not a financial advisor, and this is just my personal perspective and experience. In my first video, I discussed how my husband and I were very interested in two areas for our retirement. Those areas were Western Massachusetts and Vermont. Right now, we live on the coastal southern New Jersey shore where there is just flat land as far as the eye can see. So we are heading to the hills and mountains for our retirement. In this video, I'm going to be doing a side-by-side comparison and cost analysis for each area and see which comes out on top. Before we start talking about Massachusetts and Vermont, let's go back to where we are in New Jersey. Right now, according to Zillow, and I know Zillow is not completely reliable and that the best way to find out this information is through a realtor, but this is what I'm using for this process. According to Zillow, our current home is worth almost $600,000, which is absolutely insane and ludicrous because no, I don't think it really is. I know the market's insane, but we purchased our house for just a little over $300,000. Anyway, if the market stays the same and we sell our home, and right now our remaining mortgage is $207,000, we will make over $300,000 in proceeds. Anything we make on our home, free and clear, we are going to in turn take that money to Western Massachusetts or Vermont and use that as the down payment of our home. Okay, so let's see what that looks like in Massachusetts. And I do warn you, if you go on Zillow and start looking at homes before you're ready to retire, please be prepared to fall in love with a home that will not be available when it's time. This home that I have on the screen right now is just that home. I am absolutely in love with this home, and I hope in 3 years' time someone decides to sell it again because it is perfect in every way for what I would be looking for. But anyhow, Western Massachusetts. This is in the Pioneer Valley, which is around the area of Northampton, West Hampton, East Hampton, South Hadley, Amherst, an amazing area. Very interested in this space. Anyhow, so if you look at this home, which is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom rancher for $375,000, and then subtract out our down payment of $300,000, and looking at a 15-year fixed, we're looking at $1,226, and that does include taxes and homeowners insurance. Here's a closer look at the property taxes and home insurance for this property in Western Massachusetts. You can see that the property taxes are about $469 a month, and that the homeowner's insurance is about $131 a month. Of course, this is not set in stone, and this is just an estimate because this is Zillow. It's not actually going to have exactly perfect information, but it is super useful in getting an estimate. Okay, it's time to head north up into Vermont, and I am focusing on the Burlington area, South Burlington, Williston, Essex Junction. So, real estate in that area is very expensive, super expensive. And I found a reasonable home in that area. I believe this was in Essex Junction. Way more expensive than Western Massachusetts. About a 3-bedroom, 2-bath is $485,000. And when we put $300,000 down, obviously we're going to have a lot more to pay. So when you take a look at this, you can see that our mortgage payment for a similar property, just in a different area, would be over $1,000 more each month. I don't think that there's going to be a way for us to afford a property this expensive in our retirement. Unless the market changes, this is just going to be out of reach. I will definitely keep looking and hoping, and maybe in a different area in Vermont that would be more affordable. But for right now, the market is just not going to work for us. Of course, we have 3 years for this all to happen, and a lot can change in 3 years' time, so I'm not quite giving up hope. Here's the breakdown for the property taxes and homeowners insurance for that property in Vermont. As you can see, property taxes are about $606 a month, and the homeowners insurance is about $170. Makes sense. It's a bigger home. It is a more expensive home. Again, this is all just really estimates, and I'm not taking anything as set in stone. You might notice that I'm just pricing out properties with a 15-year mortgage. I don't really feel comfortable taking out a 30-year mortgage in retirement. I don't want to leave that burden to my children, and I think if we find the right home with a large down payment, our 15-year mortgage could be quite doable. Okay, so let's take a closer look at each area. I've attempted to do a side-by-side cost analysis of living in Western Massachusetts and Vermont to see if it's more than just a difference in how expensive the mortgages are. So, first of all, I wanted to look at utilities. As you can see on your screen, in South Jersey, in the house that we have right now, we pay a minimal amount for electricity, $5 a month about. That's because we have solar panels. When we bought our house, the solar panels were already on. So we didn't have to go through the trouble of finding a company, having them leased or installed or anything like that. They were ready to go. And we have really benefited from that. The ideal would be to find a home in Western Massachusetts or Vermont that have a similar situation with solar panels already installed. But I was looking to see what the average prices are for electricity. And I guess it depends really on how the homes are heated. Since they're in the Northeast, their winters are harsh. So some homes have a combination of electricity and oil, electricity, natural gas. So it depends. If it's just electricity, the prices are going to be way more than what is on this chart. Okay, so what you see on this chart is about $200 a month for Western Massachusetts and about $300 a month for Vermont. Next, I suppose natural gas, oil, and the method of heating is probably the most important aspect of this comparison. Because if the home has natural gas, it is going to be much more affordable. As you can see on the chart, both Western Massachusetts and Vermont are about the same when natural gas is involved. However, if the home has an oil tank, it is going to depend. You're going to have expensive tank fillings, and that can run, gosh, over $2,000, maybe $3,000 per year. There's also the possibility of propane, and in my first home here in South Jersey, we did have propane, and my oh my, that was expensive. And I know oil is even more expensive than propane. So I'm just really looking at electricity, natural gas, and oil. And the best combination for us would be a home with solar and natural gas. Now, that might be amazingly hard to find, but it's worth looking for. And even if we don't have the home that has the solar, we definitely would probably benefit from a home with natural gas. Comparing the natural gas cost to our home in South Jersey, we average between $40 and $160 depending on the month. $40 would be for your summer months, and then $160 would be for those cold winter months. Okay, so let's take a look at water and sewer. At our current home here in South Jersey, we have a well, so we don't pay for city water. God forbid something happened to our well and we need to have it redug. I don't even want to think about it, but we have been blessed with our well so far. We also have a septic system. We do not have city sewage, but that would be something that might be possible in Western Massachusetts and Vermont. Not every home, but some for sure. So what I could figure out, and this was pretty tough to figure out because a lot of the prices that people were stating were from quarterly payments. And what I could derive from that was you could probably bet on about $50 a month for water and sewage. So that's not that bad, I guess, in the grand scheme of things. Another thing to think about is garbage and how that's collected. Our garbage is picked up at our house, our recycling as well, and that's paid for by city taxes. I believe in some of the areas in Western Massachusetts and Vermont, you may need to hire a private company to do that, depending on your location. So I would say I couldn't really find anything for Western Massachusetts, but for Vermont, it seemed to be about $50 a month. What's needed to maintain your home is going to be really important when you're retired and you're on a limited income or budget. So I was thinking about the yearly expenses that we have for our home here in South Jersey. And since we do have well water, we have a water softener service come a few times a year to make sure everything's in a good situation with our drinking water. We also have um, in-ground sprinklers, and so in the spring and the fall we have the sprinklers turned on, and in the fall we have them winterized so that our pipes don't freeze. Depending on the home that we purchase in Western Massachusetts or Vermont, these services could be required in that area. However, one important service that we don't use here at home that we will definitely be needing in the Northeast is snow removal. So, as my husband and I both get older, that's going to be harder and harder for us to take care of. Right now in South Jersey, my husband and my son and my daughter, they all team up to clear our driveway of snow. However, I know this is going to be a constant battle in the Northeast. Depending on the size of our property, we could be in the market for landscaping, and I know I'll definitely be looking for help in cleaning the house. As I get older, things just don't work as well as they used to. I'm keeping the estimates for our internet, cable, and phone the same as well as our cell phone plan. The major reason for this is because it seems that Comcast or Xfinity also is in Western Massachusetts and Vermont. Now, my husband insists that if we move to the Northeast, that he will not need cable because he could watch the Philadelphia Phillies and all Philadelphia sports through streaming services. So, if that's the case, that's amazing because that's really why we have cable here in South Jersey. Our cell phones could either go down or stay the same, depending on what our kids do. I anticipate at the time of retirement that our kids are on their way to amazing careers and ready to take back some of these expenses and hoist them upon their own shoulders. But you never know. Mom and dad might need to pay their cell phone bill. There are a lot of helpful websites that I use to gather the information that I used for this comparison. But please be aware, there are some interesting websites out there that use AI to present this information. For example, one website I came across was completely AI, and they described my current location. They talked about lighthouses, beachfront views. Meanwhile, I am offshore. There is nowhere in my area, in my town, that has a beachfront view, a water view at all. Also, the closest lighthouse is 30 miles away. This was a completely inaccurate picture. So I do warn you, be careful which websites you use and use a few so that you know you have an accurate picture. I'll put the websites I used down in the description box. But one place that I really used and got a lot of good information from was Reddit. Reddit has subreddits, and if you just search the town that you are looking for in Reddit, you will be given way more information than you need. So that's about all I have for you today with this cost analysis of living in Western Massachusetts and Vermont. And I'm curious, what do you think? Where would you go? Let me know in the comments if you would choose Western Massachusetts or Vermont. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I really appreciate you being here. And I want to thank everyone, as I always do, for being so supportive. The budgeting community is amazing here. And I would just like to encourage you to please like, comment, subscribe, share. I would appreciate every little bit. Thank you so much for being here. I will talk to you soon. Bye.